hard working, dedicated. Would like to dedicate this to those who never hate it. Can't nothing hold us down, can always go another round. Welcome to the underground, real sports with real sports guys. It's a flex that had his mindset, ready for whatever grind next. My mindset, working with the time left, hard working, dedicated. Would like to dedicate this to those who never hate it. Can't nothing hold us down, can always go another round. Welcome to the underground, real sports with real sports guys.
All right, welcome to the Real Sports Guys. One mic. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. You can also get us at realsportsguys.com. I'm just gonna say this to y'all. The NBA was like, forget Super Bowl week. We got this. We got this. We got this. My man Luka, my boy Luka, they did him like Stringer Bell. They did him like Stringer Bell. We all thought that he gonna continue on, and they said you playing him away games, and they did him like Stringer Bell. And then we got the face off in Miami. There's a lot going on, and we got San Antonio down there. They doing the that Carter Cowboy kind of thing. They got that thing going on as well. They looking good down there with their trade. They feel like they on the Grammy night because they got them a great point guard. So the NBA was like, we know it's Super Bowl week, but it means more over here, even though we ain't got the ratings. Before we get into that, I'm gonna bring my co-host on here. We're gonna start with the man over there in the 734. Trying to get better over there. My man Darnell Kirkland Jr. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right. It just seems like so much is going on. You don't even know where to start with things. Like last Saturday we had rivalry weekend. You had Duke and Carolina playing. And then that night you had David Morrell.
Duke was playing. I don't know if Carolina was playing. We had to bring Joy on to evaluate that. Duke was playing. I wasn't sure if Carolina was playing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shoot. But later that night you had David Morrell versus David Benavidez.
Ooh.
And I missed that. Well,
you missed that? That was a banger.
I missed it. I went to bed, and I woke up to see who won the fight. And when I'm scrolling Twitter, I see more on the Luka trade. I'm like, Luka trade? What do you mean, Luka trade?
I had to check the date. I was like, is it April Fool's Day?
Yeah,
I thought it was somebody. AI was at work.
That's right.
I thought AI was messing with people.
Shell? Yeah. Well, we gonna have a lot to talk about that. Then we got Coach, because we talking basketball. We got the Chief. We got the former Chief here. We got all this stuff going on. We got Coach Cecil. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good. I'm living good.
Oh, you look good. You like a retired person.
I'm living that retirement life. Bored and happy about it.
I'm telling you. They out here throwing executive orders. I'm out here in these streets, man. I'm up on the front lines. I'm out here in these streets. They come up with foolishness. They want to blame everything on DI. It's like they're coming up with new ways. They have me posted. I wasn't gonna post right away. I had to post up like, we gotta stop this foolishness. They up there. They want to blame everybody for
everything. Global warming, everything.
It's like, man, my grandmother got sick. DI. It's like, come on, man.
Right. Planes falling out of the air. DI. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, they want to close down the U.S. Aid, and I'm like, they try to come up with reasons for DI coming out. I'm like, y'all better quit over here. But that's all right. That's why we got retirement. We gonna be on the front lines. I was with my mom, had her birthday, and 88th birthday. She's seen a lot, so reminds me of that we've been able to endure all that craziness. We got the power to be able to endure more moving forward. But today we're gonna talk Luka. We're gonna talk Jimmy. We're gonna talk whatever. All right, let's jump into it. Let's not even mess around, because I'm not gonna mess around anymore. We're gonna jump right into it. Luka goes out like Stringer Bell. I mean, if you watch The Wire, when Stringer Bell rolled in there and it was Brother Muzan and them, and you like, they not gonna kill Stringer. nobody thought they would ever send Luka packing, but there's some stuff happening. Coach, I want to start this conversation now because I texted you about this, but I was really thinking about. I mean, you coached a lot of years, and this idea about there's people who give energy, there's people who suck energy away, right? You think about like a Pat Beverly. Pat Bev giving you energy every night. He giving you all kinds of stuff. He's that guy that's that glue guy. And then you got these other guys sometimes that suck energy. And, you know, Kobe early in his career, when I was telling you, like, there were times where he would grate on some of the vets' nerves and would suck energy, just the way he would act. But because he was so dedicated to what he was doing, and nobody worked harder than him. He was up early. Even those same vets was like, I gotta get a younger. So there's something about it. It balanced out. It felt like when I watched Luca, that's you when you hear Nico talk, when you hear stuff talk, that feels like part of it. And as a coach, thinking through that, what does that mean as you reflect on something like that? That how do you evaluate when no matter how talented you are, you sucking too much energy?
Well, the hard part that I don't have, a lot of experience with, the hard part about it, if you're just talking about coaching, period, you'll hear coaches sometimes say we had addition by subtraction.
Yep.
Okay. I coached teams like that. In high school, even unbelievable point guard, just an unbelievable great point guard. And we were always having to figure out, talk to him, what he's doing, and never could get things rolling with the team because of it. So I get what you're saying, about that. And, for different reasons, he ended up having to leave the team. And then we went on a 15-game win streak. Now, again, he was probably the best player in Wisconsin. But he was just, the games we won with him, we won because of him probably, but it wasn't a team thing. So it's not just the energy they suck out of the room. They suck the identity out of the room of a team. The pros are different because to me, there's so much more to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you talk about Kobe, and even some people would say what you're saying about Michael. Yeah, but Kobe also said that he and Michael both wanted a standard of play that they wanted the whole team to achieve. Okay. And so you can't argue with that. You can't argue with somebody that has a winning mentality and wants the whole team to achieve
That's right.
Wants to achieve that level. Okay. And if that's sucking energy out of you, then you don't need to be here.
Yes.
Okay. He wasn't taking attention. He wanted to win. And if you want to be on that plane of winning, that's where they were, again, not knowing what goes on. We never know what goes on in the locker room or anything else. I didn't see Luka, and the same with the point guard we had, inserting any energy into the team.
Yeah.
As much as his personality and his play and what he did may have taken away some, he wasn't doing anything to put anything back into the team. He wasn't challenging the team to be great. He was just, getting what he got. We're pretty good, but he wasn't giving anything back into the team to spark them to be great. I think that's where the difference is, and that's where the issue might be is he's draining us, but he's not. At the same time, it's not that drain that's challenging us to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, and Darnell, I'm coming to you. That's part of it. I think you're hitting right onto something when you this part of this if you use Kobe and Michael as example, they were willing to lead by example, right? They're gonna be on you, and Michael's a little bit different because he also had elements where he knew how to find the moments of building some camaraderie, some on the plane and doing some different things. I think that were more glue things in some of those moments and in the downtime, whereas Kobe probably early on was much more isolated. It wasn't much in that leading around building that chemistry. And I don't know where that is with Luka, but on the court, it felt like if he wasn't involved and engaged offensively, and we talking about a guy with amazing numbers, so let's start with that. But this is where I have to invoke a little bit of Hammer, who's at the Badger game. Is there's two ends of the court, and when you constantly feel like you playing 4-on-5, and on top of it, you not doing the kind of things to put you in a position from nutrition and all the stuff. Those other two guys, they took care of all that stuff. You had never had to worry about them being ready. And the reason why you aren't able to do that because you try to conserve energy, right? So you can be on the other end. You play with guys like that, right? The guys, Darnell was talking about this. Remember, it's them guys in the gym who always ready on offense, but conserving on defense, and you feel
Man,
like you
Joe,
playing for. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know if you know who Joe Blankenship is, but he say this every.
No.
He's his old head at Lifetime. He played at Iowa State. He used to always say, he was like, "You always got offense. You always got energy when you got the ball, but you ain't got no energy for defense.
Yeah.
You magically get energy with the ball in your hand." Oh man, Joe Blankenship. But yeah, it rung a bell, man. But yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying about that. And you can see it with Luca. Like
Mm-hmm.
it drains you. Like everybody says the ball has energy, right? But when you playing defense and you constantly have to cover up for for your teammates' mistakes, like you feel that it wears on you. So yeah, I get you completely.
So Darnell, I mean, when you look at this, I mean, trade's been made. They're trying to, you know, each team's got to deal with it. It's already made. People have we can debate all the stuff behind it, but when you think about let's start on the Dallas side. What you think they need to put in motion? Where do you think they're at? And like, what does this look like moving forward? What do you like about it? What are some pieces you think they need to do, or how do you feel about you know? And the thing about it is, as we're talking about, you and I are talking about everybody talking about AD like he's scrub. It's like, come on now, like it ain't like Dallas isn't getting somebody great, and they got a couple other pieces they got with. So like, when you see it, look at it from the Dallas side right now. What do you see? Where you see some positives? Where you see some other opportunities that they could probably address by the end of this week? Where are you seeing that team right now? And
So they already started. So they started by today. They traded Quentin Grimes away and traded him for Caleb Martin. So Caleb Martin from the Sixers, he was playing for the Miami Heat for a while. He's now joining the
oh,
Dallas
that's a
team.
great move.
He could play. He could play the three. He could guard bigger wings. That's a good move for them. They're not done. They're looking into. I know they said they're looking into moves. Their their dream that they said is to get Kevin Durant there too. Which
Ooh,
I don't know how they can do that. But if they do that, obviously that would be amazing. But just looking at the team as it is right now, you're looking at Kyrie, you're looking at Klay Thompson, you're looking at Caleb Martin slash Najee Marshall, and then you have the bigs. You have Ashley Davis at the four. You have Gafford at the five. You have Lively coming in there as well at the five. So
and
what
you
you're
got
bringing in
Washington,
there is
right? They still got Washington
Yeah,
on,
PJ Washington is
and they
still on
got
the team.
PJ.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
PJ
a good
Washington.
team.
He plays a 3-4. He's
Yep.
bigger wing, but they also have wrinkles in ways they can play these other teams that are out west. Like the team that everybody's chasing is OKC, and OKC, what are they vulnerable to? They're vulnerable to size. We saw in the in-season tournament when they played against the Milwaukee Bucks. When Giannis got going, they had no answers for him because they just didn't have the size to match up. And when Dallas has Anthony Davis and they have Gafford crashing the glass, protecting the paint, it can cause a lot of problems for OKC in ways that other teams really can't do to them. And we've seen the way that Cleveland has the Cleveland Cavaliers has made their come up this year with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen playing two bigs. There's We're in a league that it's a pace and space league. A lot of fours nowadays are more like threes of
Threes.
the 2000, yeah, the threes of the older generations. So when you have a four that you still have to respect from as far as a jump shooter, that you still have to respect, but they can still punish you on the inside. It can cause a lot of problems for these teams. So I think that's something that they're looking at, and in some ways that they can be viable come playoff time.
And coach, it's funny. Darnell and I were up. So I usually you'll call me on the way home. Would be at night. Then I said, let me call him. He found he was not feeling under the weather on my way to work this morning. And one of the things I told him, because he was sick, so they didn't allow me to talk most of the way because he probably just liked listening what I was doing. But one of the things I said about this move that signaled to me, and it's hard, because everybody's got in their head around this 25-year-old who I think is going to be amazing. I think LA might not be a good fit for him. Is I said this is about the Mavs, and this is I think where Nico's been influenced by the people he's been around, trying to get to their version of Heat culture. And then you tell me who they get. They got Caleb, right? They, in their belief in J Kidd as being their Spoelstra, right? And when you thought of it, and I've always said this. Unless you in LA and that's how you build teams, and they build teams that way because that's the main revenue. So they got it. There's a lot of reasons why they build that team like that. But you got to know who you are. And in this NBA, you got to trust you got a coaching staff that can develop and maintain who you are. It is about stars, but great teams. And if you look at how Boston built it, are built on some really solid principles, and they try to get everything to feed into that. Know who you are and drive it home. I think Oklahoma City is a great example of that. They got a way they want to do it, and they get down. That's why they bounce back so quickly, right? So when you think about like what he just said about how they're playing, I mean, they seem like they got a lot of movable parts right now, in terms of how they want to play. With a coach like Kidd, who is very creative. I'm liking where that's going, and and everybody forgets about Clay. Clay in an environment like this, coach. A guy like Clay, you get a guy like Clay at where he's at about 75% of what he ought, and still can throw it in a team like this, and he's efficient. With some bigs behind him who could defend. He might not be the defender he is, but he knows how to play. And this is why I have my criticism about Luka. He kn- Clay knows how to execute the game plan. He's smart enough, right? He's not the same defender, but he knows what they're trying to do and they execute it. And they got those kind of players who are going to buy in. There's going to be all energy in this room.
Yeah, I think there's everybody's looking at this move as a slight to Anthony Davis and and hurting Dallas, and everything you said. When I was listening to people talk, and of course I marvel at Darnell with his insight on things and players, but everything you said is that Dallas is trying to build they're trying to build a future.
Yeah.
They're trying to build a culture there. That's how you become a championship team, is to build a culture. You don't build it around that one guy. And they're starting to think about bringing champions in. You bring in a Clay who's got a championship pedigree. You bring in AD who's got a championship now. And don't you think we saw what a motivated AD is like when he went to LA. You think he ain't gonna be motivated now? He's gonna be as motivated as ever now. And so we'll see him play more than 50 games in a season, at least for a few more years. And so, no, everything you said is right, is that they're building a culture, and they're not just building something to win a championship. Now they're talking about building something to win a championship in the next couple of years, next 4 years, and compete with some of these teams like they've been planning all along and building their teams up to compete with. And they're ahead of the game.
And if Luka can learn something, he can learn something from the person they decide to go with, Kyrie. because everybody talks about the run last year, and Luka was amazing in that run, but
Oh,
Kyrie was money.
he
Kyrie
was.
was clutch. Kyrie was holding it together. Kyrie was playing defense. Like Kyrie, I knew Dallas was the right place for Kyrie. I was telling Darnell this morning. If you go early on those first couple of weeks when he was walking from the stadium to his back to his hotel, I have
Yeah.
never seen him so comfortable in his own skin and his own environment. I was like, oh, he's gonna be a problem. He
Yeah.
gonna be a problem. He down there with tax free. He down there. The sun is on his face because Kyrie's an emotional kind of cat. When that sun is on him, you could see he was breathing. I said, oh no no no. He got his sage. I mean, he. Everybody forget. It's like, well, I heard people talking about, well, Kyrie's the number 2. Come on, man. Kyrie's clutch. Don't get caught up. Don't get it twisted. So there's some pieces here that, and I think J Kidd's that glue. J Kidd knows how to put that battery in your back. If I'm going to put it I mean, Giannis is who he is. Why? Because J Kidd saw something right early on. Now it didn't quite work out. It was a young J Kidd, probably beating
Mm-hmm.
himself, with the management. But J Kidd was the one that got that process going. Darnell,
Mm-hmm.
L.A. I'm gonna put you in L.A. to come back to coach. L.A. now. Look Hollywood walking in. I'm gonna say this. I said all this stuff like he going out by string of bell, but when he was sitting there at that press conference, he like, brother Muzan. Somebody go get my New Yorker, get my other magazine, get my. I mean, I'm saying he went out by string of bell, but he landed in L.A. When I looked at his face, like, oh, he looked like brother Muzan. They might not do anything in the short run, but what you like about where the Lakers are, and I don't know if they made any moves while we've been out here. You've been tracking it, but with the Lakers, what do you, if you're sitting there trying to be the architect for that, what are you looking at? What you doing in the short term and what you doing in the long term?
Well, it's this trade for the Lakers could be nothing more than could be nothing less than a plus because the Lakers were a dead end team. They didn't
Yes.
have a future beyond LeBron and
Mm-hmm.
AD, and now they have a 25-year-old young superstar that is going to be their future. You
Mm-hmm.
know, LA, it has to be the luckiest franchise in the history of sports.
In history.
They went from Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West to Elgin Baylor. Then they got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Magic Johnson and James Worthy. And then they got Shaq and Kobe.
Right.
Then they got LeBron, and now they're gonna end up with Luka Doncic.
And
Like this,
almost had Chris Paul if there wasn't no hate
yep,
in that one. And Chris Paul in his prime.
man.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's it. Um, Coach, when
But
you
hey,
look at,
man, but it's L.A.
yep.
Big market. You know, it's got everything to attract people at certain times in their careers, along with the money.
Yeah, you just got to keep look out them restaurants. He gonna get it right. But coach, you got LeBron and you got Luka. How are you playing them? How are you using them?
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah,
And at first there was some talk about but I got to give Luka credit. There was some talk about how was Luka going to play with Kyrie because they were both people that need the ball in their hands. Okay, and somehow they managed to figure it out. I'll give LeBron some credit for his basketball understanding and knowledge, and the fact I think he could probably fit any role. I don't think now he needs to have the ball in his hands constantly. I think he'd be just as well giving it up to Luka on occasion. So I think they're going to be okay because of LeBron's basketball IQ and just the mentality that he has about the sport. And also to Darnell's point again, and yours, I think LeBron's bought into being a part of the future of the Lakers in terms of the direction that they're going to go. And so he's going to try to make sure that this works out well for the Laker organization too. So I think they'll find a way to make it work. Will they make it work enough for them to do anything this year in terms of playoffs or something like that? I don't think so. I don't know if they got enough other pieces for that to be the case, but I think they'll find a way to make it work simply for that reason. I think they're smart enough. LeBron's smart enough. He'll be able to fit into that role. Matter of fact, his role is going to change a little bit with AD being gone. he's going to have to be more of a rim protector and do some things like that. So, but they'll find a way to work it out.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would have been able to do, and I mean, and these things all count on like the numbers and everything working out. If they could have got Lively as part of that deal, that would have been, numbers probably didn't work out or something, but
There
if
is
they
no way in the world the Lakers gonna get Derek Lively and Luca. Luca
No,
and
no,
who else is the Lakers gonna trade?
I was
They gonna give
saying
LeBron? Y'all gonna
if
get
they you
LeBron
give you,
too?
but
LeBron and AD?
so the thing that they might be able to do is get Kessler. Now, if they get Kessler, that would be that would really open it up. Now you got
Yeah,
something cooking with
but
you get Kessler.
who's the GM of Utah?
I know that's the problem. He tried to bleed you dry. Danny ain't losing no trades,
well,
especially
And
with the
he's not
Lakers.
helping out the Lakers either.
He
I
will.
think one of the keys to AD even going to the Mavericks was Lively being there.
Yep. Yep.
And so that means that he can play that stretch four, and Lively can play center. And so I think that was one of the things about the trade that makes sense for everybody for that to happen. I'm
Yep.
with you. There's no way they were going to give him up to LA.
Yeah, they got to figure out. This is clearly they're going to build things around Luca, and I mean they definitely have transitioned. He's going to be the cornerstone of this. JJ Redick going to have to try to figure out how to make all this work. And so we'll see how that process looks. I want to say, Coach, I'll start with you. For each team, or well, in 3 years, who will be saying this was good for us?
Um, I would say definitively Dallas for building their team where they're at right now and where they want to go over the next 3 years. I think if LA makes some good moves, like they usually do, longer term they'll probably come out like they usually do, come out on top. But I think in the next 3 years, for the calling that more immediate, I think Dallas is going to come out on top.
What do you think, Darnell?
What's that commercial with Kevin Garnett and Jamie Foxx? It's LA, LA, LA. LA won this trade. The Lakers won this trade. Um, I don't know if it's necessary. Well, it's not as. I don't think it's as lopsided as everybody's saying. If you're listening to, ESPN and all the media pundits out there, I don't think it's as lopsided as everybody's saying. But the the ability for the Lakers to go from where they were to the potential of where they can go in the not too distant future, being able to build a team around Luka Doncic heading into his prime, I think LA has won this trade. At least from their perspective, I think both teams can get out of this trade thinking that they won this trade.
Mm.
It can end up being a win-win scenario. It's just the thing about the Dallas portion of the trade is that it's a win now move, and in the NBA, in today's climate, well, in any climate, right? It's not easy to win a championship, and the way that they're going to be judged is if they don't win, it's going to be bad for them, or specifically Nico Harrison. So if they don't win, if they don't win soon, he's going to end up being out of there, right or wrong. But so I think that gives LA a little more wiggle room.
So the part about the wiggle room, I probably agree with you in terms of it. Uh, Dallas initiated this with a young superstar who probably had some. I think got more flaws than people want to recognize because his offense is so. People are because we've gotten so much into analytics where we that favor offensive viewpoint because you do got to score at some point. It's championships are still won by stops, and you still got to have people who do it. The one thing about it is, I trust more of what Dallas is doing. They got more things that I trust than LA. LA, LA is the same team that thought uh, they could bring Russell Westbrook into a space that we all knew was wrong for Russ, for everybody. Like I don't trust all of their moves, and then JJ Redick is still got to prove he can coach all of that. So they got more variables that I would say I'm not sure about, other than Luka probably still going to average 25, 30, right? He can average 30, but that might not pay off the way that might look. And he still when you look at how the West is forming up, all the things Dallas said he needed to do, he going to need to do to get over the top. So if he decides to do that, if he just gets motivated on that, then that could be a problem. But they got to have more pieces come together in their space than Dallas does. Now, fans might get mad because they made it to the finals and lost, or they make it to whatever. But I trust that they got more solid pieces and flexibility, and they're able to make better moves than the Lakers. Lakers
I
still got.
mean, but the Lakers they got a longer runway too. They got a longer runway.
Yeah, no, not LA. LA fans don't go that way. I think people are overestimating. LA fans are like Dallas Cowboy fans. Laker fans. You and I, we live around. We got family members who are Laker fans. They you know, and we got my man Damon, who fed like we got a lot of Laker folks around us, and Laker fans don't give you a lot of runway. People think they do. They got irrational. They're kind of irrational sometimes. So I don't know. I don't know if they have as much runway as you think they got.
Well,
They
at least
got
they'll
they
be
got
able to
this
build it
season,
though.
and they might have next season.
No,
Look
they
how
they
much
they definitely have next season. Come on now.
what was they? How was they reacting when LeBron came here? They didn't get LeBron 2 months.
Yeah, but then when they made the AD trade, it kind of reset that.
They was like,
And
when
you
now?
know, and we already talked about the attraction that LA is for big stars. Give it a year or two, somebody else will be in LA too. It won't just be Luka.
No,
LeBron
I
will be
think LeBron.
retired, but
Yeah,
they'll be able to build a team around Luka.
I think
That looks very different than the team
will
they
they
have
be able to
right now.
execute? I mean, JJ smart, but that ain't coaching. You still got to pull it together. Somebody has to organize it.
Yeah.
Who got experience doing that? Like I do you think you think see if you had a kid over there, you could probably say that. But I trust kid to figure it out because I've seen him do it. Can JJ, Coach? We might have lost you. I hear your voice.
Well,
Yeah, I can't get my.
You
I
can't say
can't.
okay. You with me? I like Coach that went out on me. So
No,
Coach.
my one device was about to shut down, so I switched to the other one, and I
Okay.
can't get. And I can see me. I can see YouTube, but I'm not on
Well,
the.
Devon has to bring you on the screen.
Oh yeah, I might have to
You're on
bring
the
you on because you
yeah.
switched devices. Because we want to be able to see you, Coach. We don't want we want to be able to see you. We don't want any problems. See, I don't lost my stuff trying to bring Coach on. We'll figure it all out, Coach. We want to be able to see you. Hold on, let me get this right. Yeah, we want to be able to see you, Coach. We'll get it right.
Yeah, I was about to go out on you completely.
Oh, there you go. Oh, we got you. We got you back. We'll get you back. We back up here.
Oh, there we go.
Y'all work with us, fam. Y'all stay with us because we got to get. Cause we got, and I'm in the news. I'm on all the wrong stuff. Work with us though. We still gonna be here. We got to bring Coach back on this one. Uh. So just about where you think people might be in 3 years in terms of the success. And my whole idea, I'm still for the Lakers. I'm thinking JJ still got to prove himself, but.
I'm with you there. I'm not convinced, and not that I'm trying to give LeBron more credit than maybe he duly deserves, but I'm not sure or convinced where JJ is in terms of coaching this team. And I hate to be disparaged against him. Charles went after him, and that I don't want to be in Charles's in Charles's club with that, but I just don't know. That's why I said, as far as the trade goes, I thought that for now, like I said, for now, and you said 3 years, I thought it was best for Dallas, because I do think it's going to take some rebuilding in LA, and I do think it's going to take some coaching in LA, and I don't know what that's going to look like, and the type of players he's going to get over there that can help him, that's going to help him move faster. So those are the intangibles for me as far as LA goes. Because I'm like you, I don't know where he is with his schemes or his understanding completely of the NBA.
Yeah,
now, he's a good analyst, but that's Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah. Now, if they had Ty Lue, I'm like, okay, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And maybe they might get Ty Lue, but
and he's got some good people on the bench. I mean, Nate's there, right? McMillan's there.
Yeah, but does he seem like the kind of person, he listens, but does he listen?
Right.
He like the smartest guy in the room.
But
maybe I could be wrong.
Well, he did go to Duke.
He's been around the league for a long time.
But being around and coaching is two different things.
From 2006. It's 2000.
Yeah, but being around and coaching is two different things.
Yeah, he was in the league though. He played for Van Gundy.
Yeah, but I mean, he was throwing chairs at the 8th grade AAU game or whatever it might have been. Like we got to see. You can't do that in the NBA. And I see sometimes on the sidelines, he having these reactions. You can see guys on the bench looking at him rolling their eyes. So I don't know. That part is still up. We got to say that is still up.
They love it when Dan Hurley do it.
Huh?
I said they love it when Dan Hurley does it.
Yeah, but Dan Hurley's a proven coach. Like I say Dan over the top, and but he know coaching, right? And so there's some proof there. I just don't know. I think that's the variable where I trust J Kidd. I told you this move was about Mav culture. The standard is the standard, and they know they got a coach who can hold the standard. And if you do this, is a Pat Riley move. If I do this with you, I'm gonna let everybody else know it here. Y'all can go. Right, that's the standard. That's one of them G moves. Now it better work, yeah. But I think the reason why he thinks he could do it because he know he got a great coach. Where that other side, I haven't quite figured that one out yet. He could be, and Luka can make you look good on some of his offensive stuff he wants to do. But I know Luka's gonna drive him crazy too. So we'll see how that works out. All right, the Miami. I want to just spend a little bit of time on this because we might as well put the Miami Vice up here. We got Pat and we got Jimmy, two hard heads. And I think Pat don't run up against somebody because Jimmy came up the hard way. Pat, you ain't scaring him. Like, Jimmy done been the hard. You just one more obstacle in the way, but Pat Riley got that same thing. Coach, how does that thing work out? Pat Riley, where do you feel it all went wrong? It's just like they were just good the other day ago. What is going on?
Well, I think as you said from the beginning, and again, this is where you got two stubborn people, and I don't know all the ins and outs. My sense initially was that Jimmy was handling it the wrong way. He was making pronouncements that he wasn't going to play, he wasn't going to travel, he wasn't going to do these things. And I think once he started talking about that, then that just switched Pat Riley, his heart hit, I've been a player, I've been in this league, I'm not going to put up with this from somebody. And this isn't new for Riley. I mean, Riley's done this with other players before too, where he's put his foot in he drew the line in the sand, and now they're just both being hard-headed and stubborn about it. And, I think it's silly. I mean, these people are getting paid a whole lot of money. The only people you're letting down are the fans in all this over your attitude and your, challenging each other as being a man and all this stuff. So I just think it's ridiculous. And I think somebody needs to say enough's enough, and we need to, if you don't want to be here, that's my take. If you don't want to be here, then let's get you somewhere else where you want to be. Okay. And just move on past this, because now it's just become to me, it's just become two hard-headed people, a hard-headed organization and a player. So I can't find any right on either side of this.
Yeah, and I think the one thing where I fit with Jimmy, I'll jump to you, Darnell, is they missed out on free agents. And Jimmy wanted some help. I mean, they missed out on something. And so is Pat losing out? Is Pat Bob losing out? And Jimmy been carrying him. I think Jimmy's held up his end of the bargain. Now, how Jimmy has dealt with it probably hasn't been, it's once Jimmy turned that corner, he turned that corner. And, Jimmy grew up in space where, he got a story, right? And so, but I think his initial thing is, what we going to do to bring more talent here? And then y'all start trying to go and put it with some guys we got here who haven't demonstrated they can carry the load. So I think Jimmy has always been fighting for that recognition. And now y'all trying to play me now. I'm just not going to go with it. And I think Pat's missed out on some free agents. He just, and that's the part he got to be accountable for. You ain't been to land the deal, man. You used to be the closer. And you ain't been closing. And so I think I think you're right. They're both, these are kind of people that somebody, Alonzo should have got him in the room and like, y'all ain't leaving. Let's get this done. Alonzo over there sitting like, looking like, Brother Muzan himself, like, Pat tapped him, you got to come down and see you. But can Alonzo get him in the room and figure this out? It just seemed like it could have been figured out because he feel like the Heat was a good place for Jimmy. Darnell, how are you viewing this thing? It's Miami Vice.
Yeah,
Twice.
pretty similar. Yeah, pretty similar. It's not just the free agents. It's also trade targets. Like they're guys that they could have gotten trades that they weren't. They just weren't receptive to. They didn't want to give up what was necessary to give up to get them. Like especially guys like Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Guys like that could have really helped their team, but they didn't want to give up what they needed to give up to get him. So that's where Jimmy Butler is frustrated at. But hey, if Jimmy Butler is going to do what he's doing now, he's going to end up like Stephon Marbury. He's going to be in China somewhere playing. And Kevin Garnett said something.
Them $45 coffees.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin Garnett said something on this podcast that was interesting. He said he said Jimmy Butler is gonna bring non-guaranteed contracts back into the NBA. That's something to think about. That's something to think about because the next collective bargaining agreement, there's something that's gonna come up. Like these guys acting a fool, then we should be able to just terminate your contract.
Nah, you ain't getting that because you ain't getting no Luka on no non-guarantee. Like we just talked about it. So, what's made the NBA work is the partnership. Them owners, and if that happened, then Adam hasn't gotten the right message back. But I mean, at the same time, we have owners who they had their own issues around stuff, so they can't blame it on Jimmy. But they'll try. But Jimmy's gonna use the things he's got in his arsenal to use. Right? The players don't have too many things, and the one thing you can do is withhold services for somebody who feel like they don't have too many options, like the owner. So it's a standoff, but you're getting that collective bargaining. You're gonna have to get it. There's a partnership that's made this thing work. So they're gonna have to figure it out. So all right, Super Bowl time. Let's get up. We'll keep an eye on that. We got a lot going on. The Super Bowl's here. We got Mr. Kansas City Chief himself. This is young blood. I know who you rooting for, but we gotta be objective. We gotta be objective right now. Don't be like my Dean, who's an Eagle fan, Philly guy. Dean Wilcox. I know. Like I said, shout out to you, Philly guy. Loving his Philly connection. So when you're thinking about what are the keys for both these teams to win, Cecil, what are you seeing?
Well, I can tell you as a Chiefs fan, I'm concerned.
I didn't expect this.
Hey man, you gotta be honest.
That's right. You are a coach now. First.
For me, and I think Darnell would probably appreciate this. You know, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. In all fairness, Jalen Hurd is Jalen Hurd. We all know what Saquon can do. None of it happens without them guys up front. None of it happens without them guys up front. Philly has one of the best, most dominating offensive lines in football. Okay. On the other hand, Kansas City Chiefs has one of the best defensive lines in football. So this is going to be an interesting clash of the Titans up front as far as that goes. And I think either team is going to go as far as those strengths allow them to go. Because if you watch Philly, what makes Saquon so tough is that offensive line always gets him to the second level. And once he's at the second level, all bets are off. I mean, you just gotta hope and pray somebody catches him, once he gets to the second level. And most of the time he's getting there, and even inside, they're still powering for the yardage that he gets, 3-4 yards. But once he gets to a second level, then that's where it's dangerous. And so that's where the other thing too is that the Chiefs are going to have to almost mimic the way the Eagles play on defense. Eagles have 5 people around the ball all the time. Okay. And again, if you're going to contain Saquon or you're going to contain Jalen, you're going to have people around the ball all the time because he can't get out. And so that's a powerful weapon for me because I believe in the run game. I think the run game is still important. And when you got an offensive line that believes in the run game, and the Chiefs aren't the best sometimes at stopping the run. In their secondary, once the run's going, then their secondary can be a little bit shaky too. And so, like I said, that has me concerned because they are so good on offense and so efficient on offense. And I'm not going to slight their defense either. I do think their secondary you can pick them up apart a little bit. I don't think their secondary is that tough. I think they're good up front, but I don't think their secondary is that tough. And that's a good thing for Chiefs because you got Patrick, and he's got some weapons now. That's the good side of it too. You saw a little bit of a demonstration of the weapons that they have going into this game now all over the field. It cracks me up that people that should know better keep talking about, well, Travis Kelce is not as productive as he has been. That's because finally, before a couple of years ago, you're saying, why aren't they doubling Kelce? Why aren't they paying more attention to Kelce? Well, now they're paying attention to him and they're doubling him up, but now these other guys are out there. So, he's still doing his job because he's tying people up. He's making you have to scheme for him. And so these other people are coming open. So that's the thing that I think that's always the joker in the deck. And that's Mahomes. And it's also what we talked about earlier with Kobe and those people. It's not just Mahomes and what he does. It's the attitude he brings to that team. He makes that team believe that if I get the ball back, we're going to win. And they believe that. And so there's a lot to that. So anyway, that's kind of how I look at it. My heart has to say the Chiefs, but it's going to be a game.
It's going to be a game. Darnell, what do you seeing as it's some of the keys for both these teams and to get to Super Bowl?
Yeah, so on the Chiefs side of things, I think on the defensive end, I think this is a big game. Obviously in the trenches, but the key is going to be the corners. There's like the secondary, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. If they can um, really handle business on the back end and lock things down, it allows you to send more resources. So have the 8 in the box, have that extra safety in there to account for the running game because that's what's going to take to stop this Eagles offensive line. They got Mekhi Becton in there. They moved him to guard. They got him from the Jets. Um, Cam Jurgens, like they pretty much cloned Jason Kelsey. Like if you didn't know Jason Kelsey retired last year, you might have thought that he was still playing because Cam Jurgens has just been that good. Landon Dickerson in there. I can go on and on about that offensive line. Um, Especially Lane Johnson, the best, arguably the best tackle in the game. Um, the Eagles' offensive line is amazing, but on their side of things, it's the opposite. Their defense is not is it's the opposite. So like their defensive line is gonna have to get home. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to get Kansas City into unfavorable down and distance time segments. So you're third and 10, third and 12, that sort of deal, and then get off the field. You know what I'm saying? Um, and on offense for Philadelphia, extend drives. So Philadelphia almost reminds me of Penn State from this year on football. They remind me of Penn State with no, not Penn. Yeah, with no, not Penn State, Notre Dame, Notre Dame. I'm thinking of Riley Leonard, the way they can get to third and short, and then it almost seems like they're always going to convert. And they if they can just keep stay on schedule, I think they can get it done. And then for the Chiefs, it's just keep it close, and just get to get to crunch time because when it's crunch time, it all comes down to execution. And if the ball's in number 15's hands, you know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a three-peat.
Yeah, I think um, it's all going to come down to who is dictating on first down. I think y'all said it. Both these teams, if they can make you uncomfortable. Now the Chiefs have a lot more options in different scenarios around third and long and just the ability of Pat just to pick it up. But I think when they're playing on schedule, and I like the way y'all put it, their offense, the defense that can make the other team play off schedule is going to be it. Because both these teams, if they're able to play on schedule in a sense that people say, well, that's pretty simple. That's what most people want to do.
Yeah.
These teams dictate. They're like boxers. These teams are like Canelo, make you go where they want to go with your feet. They like Crawford. They make you do what they want to do because they put pressure. They put pressure that you feel and imagine it. They're always putting you there for the knockout, and they get you to play the way they want you to play, right? And when they're humming and they start rolling downhill, they get to be very difficult to stop. And the sneaky thing about it is Kansas City's running game is sneaky. It's sneaky part about it. Like everybody pays so much to 15 that they forget, Pacheco and and Hunt and all these
And the
cats
offensive line,
in the offensive line.
Trey Smith,
Yeah,
Trey
you watch
Humphrey.
them run the ball, and it's like, and the things they do to extend the run. And this thing just drives me. When I say this about Andy Reid, and I appreciate his greatness, but I watch him in Philly just have some of the greatest running backs and just never run the football. And put Donovan. I know Donovan McNabb's watching this offense like, why didn't you run when I was like we never ran, and he had great running backs. Now Andy is doing it all, but I mean he's in his mix with that. But on the other side, like y'all talked a little bit about Saquon and putting it in, but I also think like it's funny that Carl's not here, but Smith, I think he's gonna be the key. I think Brown is gonna get so much attention because if you don't, he gonna have his clown suit on, right? I but I just think you know they're gonna make him pay because you gotta put some stuff on you gotta devote some assets to that run game. Like number one rule is getting Saquon under control and forcing um uh Hurts to be that person who's got to win. We think about last time they met, he had a great game, other than that little fumble, right? But I think Smith is gonna. I think Smith has potential of having a huge game. I mean, he's had these moments And you know how this kid is in these moments. I mean, think about the first time we saw him with the touchdown catch, right, in the big national championship game. I was like, "Who is that?" Darnell knew everybody, but it's one of those things. And he's the kind of guy who is good in these moments. And so pay attention to him. I'm like, everybody's gonna pay attention to that run game, but pay attention to him. I think he's gonna be big. And then I think uh, you got to score touchdowns and not field goals. That's where the great Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator is great. He makes you kick field goals.
Mm-hmm.
he may, he may, he might you might get him all the way down the field. He finds a way. Think about what he did against Buffalo. They scouted. They saw the tendency on fourth and short, right? That Allen likes to go left.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what he do? He puts two big guys in that gap. Now, for all of me, how tall is Allen? Just go right
About
and
six
let him fall
five.
forward. Like I'm sitting there looking at it like there's two guys in the gap and they still try to go there, but they scouted that and they just stayed like he is. That's him. That's why he's won so many Super Bowls. And so and they seem to get stingier when sometimes you get in that red zone in these big moments. So you got to score touchdowns. All right,
Well,
who do you think is going to be
Brian,
the? Go ahead.
you brought up something I have been thinking about too, as far as the game goes, and it is going to come down to, like our friend it's Steelers would say, it's going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to what the schemes are that they come up with against one another and what they're planning for, because they watch each other all year. They know each other pretty well. And it's going to be who comes out with the game plan that's going to make the most sense. Darnell made a good point, I think, too. He said that in terms of making sure that you're keeping the ball moving down the field in these games and taking control and moving the ball along down the field, that's going to be huge for people in the rhythm that they both had in these championship games. I mean, the obviously Eagles came out first play from scrimmage, and then the first drive that Kansas City had, they just kind of set a tone for the game, and so that's going to be interesting to see too. The last thing too are those little minute things that I paid attention to because they've been a big issue with the Eagles, and that is how Eagles create turnovers. Yeah. And it's a conscious effort that people are going to have to be mindful for, because that's how they play football. They look to get turnovers. They look to get an opportunity to get to the ball, and that's going to be important too. Because again, now you're taking the ball out of Mahomes' hand if there's too many of those, and that could be detrimental for them.
Yeah, I heard someone talk about it today. I think one of the sneaky things about the Eagles is most teams are 1st and 10. The Eagles are 1st and 8 because of the tush push, and because of the way that they are able to convert on short yardage, which is interesting when you think about how they do play calls, how they sustain drives, and Spagnola's ability to figure out what he's going to do with that play, right? He had some success with the Bills on that, but Philly's different, as y'all said about the offensive line. You also got a quarterback that squats a stadium and is okay with this and is like skilled with it, and you're not just going to be able to be in one gap with him. He's going to go where you're not. So that adds a whole nother element to it, and also makes me feel like they're going to change that rule if Kansas City gets beat, because I feel like I got some Michael Jordan stuff on here, like change some rules. It try to open stuff up, but I can feel that coming if that's part of it. But that's a sneaky stat right there: 1st and 8 versus 1st and 10, and what that means for a first down play call when you have a lot of confidence in your 4th and 2 and 4th and 1 offense, right? That's a different scenario. Darnell, you was going to say something over there.
No.
You offensive lineman. All right. So I was MVP. Who you think gonna be the MVP, Darnell?
Man, it's simple. The MVP is going to be Patrick Mahomes, but my MVP is going to be Joe Tooney. So we very much like Ohio State. I know bring to going back to the national championship now. The left tackle went down, right? So Donovan Jackson had to play left tackle. Joe Tooney, a career guard, he has to play left tackle for the Chiefs. He's a all pro level guard, possible Hall of Fame level offensive lineman, but he is kicking out the play tackle, doing it for the team. And if they win, he's my MVP. But
Mm.
the Kansas City's MVP, but the Kansas City, the Super Bowl MVP will be Patrick Mahomes, and they will win for the third consecutive season. They already came out with the trademark. So Pat Riley already gave him the trademark for the three peat. So I think I'm not gonna say it's scripted, but it's already it's already in motion.
Yeah, stop short of saying it's scripted. Oh Lordy.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cecil. Who you got? MVP. Same thing.
Oh shoot. Um, I'm gonna say, what's it, Chris, the defensive lineman for the Chiefs?
Chris Jones.
Huh?
Chris
Chris
Jones.
Jones.
Jones, yeah. I'm gonna say him. Say the Chiefs win and Chris Jones is gonna be the MVP. Because I think if they win, he's gonna have to have a monster game. You know, he's gonna have to have Hurd on his heels. He's gonna have to be up and down the side, up and down the line of scrimmage. I just think for them to win it, he's gonna have to have a monster game.
But will they give it to him?
You asked me who I thought.
Yeah.
Who they give it to, if they win a third one, yeah, I mean, it's hard not, if they win a third one, it's probably going to be hard not to give it to Patrick, because that's where it goes. But, you know, I'm going a little further, like you talked about, Tooney. I'm going to go a little further and say they're going to give it to Chris if they win it.
I think this is this is so crazy because of Kelsey and all these guys brought back uh, tight end day or whatever they call that and everything else. And I've been saying the running backs need their own version of that. And slowly but surely, there's been this change around running backs and the value to it. And Saquon stood on business, and he's been running like a person possessed. I think it's going to be Saquon Barkley. I think it's going to be one of them things that come down to the end. It's going to be a field goal, and I think they're gonna get the revenge on that loss that they had before, because they should have won the game the last time they played. I just think they got so many elements right now, and I think Saquon is. I mean, what you see that first touchdown he had, he ran like somebody stole his daddy's records. I am, and Saquon is out here. I think feeling like he's representing the running backs, and don't be get it twisted. They're gonna have whatever that running back day next year. They gonna start doing a little thing with the running backs, and I just think it's gonna be Saquon. If I had a backup, a sneaky one, I told you, like, who's off the radar, I'm gonna have to give it to the kid from Brown Deer, Zach Vaughn. Who Dave LeCrae might love this, because his ability to cover ground, his ability to possibly break stuff up with Travis, his ability. I mean, this kid is special. And if it wasn't Saquon, I would say the defense showed up and really contained, and he would have to have a lot to do with it because of what he's doing in the middle. All right, I'll say this: our final question of the night, and then we'll wrap it up. If they do three-peat, where does that put Kansas City? Where does that put Patrick Mahomes if they were to three-peat? Darnell, I'll go with you, and I'll come over to Coach.
Where does it put Patrick Mahomes? So Brady's always going to be one, but Mahomes is, he's on his way. He's on his way. But you also got you can't forget about Montana.
Yeah,
So you can't forget about Montana. So you got Brady, you got Montana. So we're talking about quarterbacks here because
yeah,
if we're talking about football, like football players in general, I think well you almost have to have like a separate list because
yeah.
they just looked at they just looked at differently. So as far as quarterbacks goes, I would have him three, but it might seem like it's a little premature, but who's done what he has done
No,
to this point?
no, no, no. Where do you think it puts the Chiefs as a team when you think about the dynasty and teams? Because I believe it would be a dynasty. Someone else said it wouldn't be a dynasty. I'm like, I'm
Well,
struggling.
so who else is three-peated? So
Yeah.
when was the
So,
last time
but
somebody three-peated?
yeah, it go all the way back. You got to go back to the Green Bay Packers, and that was in the old league, I
What?
think.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. But yeah, I mean it's, but that still would be a debate, right? Because you think about something like the Steelers won how many Super Bowls in like 6 years, and you start to put, you know, you know, you know, 49ers
The
had some
Patriots.
runs,
I guess
yeah,
it depends on how you measure three in a row
yeah,
versus multiple
yeah,
championships.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
even the Patriots, what they won how many in like 5 years, 4 or 5 or 6 years? I mean, yeah, they didn't do it three in a row, but they won a lot in a condensed time.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
And I haven't been around for all these different ones though, so I
yeah,
don't
I grew up a
know.
Steeler fan, and we won several in a condensed time. I was a happy person for a while. So,
Right.
but yeah, I think it puts them in a special place because they did it in a free agency. Guys sacrifice. I mean, they had to build a culture, right? So I do put them up there. Um, I don't know if I put them at the top, but I put them in that top three if I thought about it in terms of dynasty. What do you think, Cecil? I mean, obviously, Mr. Chief himself.
I think we're having a kind. I think we're all on the same page because
Yeah,
it's when you start talking about these kind of
yeah,
things, you know, you almost have to create a different category because, yeah, no one's done it won three back-to-back championships. Does that make them a dynasty? I would say, yeah.
mm,
In terms of that conversation, does it make them the number one team? Are they the GOAT of teams? No. I think they're in that list.
mm,
And you have to argue through that list. I totally agree with Darnell. I've been saying this all along. When it comes, as much as I like Patrick Mahomes, he's not had enough longevity enough yet. In term now, if we're sitting here 5 years from now, and Mahomes has won 8 Super Bowls, that's a different kind. That's a done deal. Okay. But until that happens, he still sits behind, he'll still sit behind Brady and he'll sit behind Montana. And I was glad to hear you say that, Darnell, because a lot of people don't talk about Montana.
yeah.
Like Devon would say, he's kind of sneaky. And then everybody goes, oh, yeah, Joe Montana. That motherfucker was good. I
Yeah.
mean,
And the thing about Joe is like he was a great athlete too. Like everybody talk about athletic quarterbacks. Joe could hoop. I mean, what about good former colleagues? Jeff Thompson played hoop at Notre Dame at the same time Joe was there. He talks about the incident when he and Joe got into it playing pickup. Joe was talking trash. And so
mm,
Jeff is from New York. He not gonna put up with Joe talking trash. Everybody on campus, because the campus is not that big, heard that he almost got in a fight with Montana on the basketball court. But Montana's like people forget, like he competes in everything. So
yep.
yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to keep bringing that up because folks are slipping. With Montana, Montana was doing all of that. And he's the one person who could still play today, and he probably would flourish in what we're doing right now.
Well, I don't say he's the one person, but he's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
He's
Nah,
Montana was.
the quarterback I want to see play today was Dan Marino
Yeah, Marino would have flourished today, but
and Steve
but
McNair.
but
I
but
gotta
but
say Steve McNair.
Montana ability to move too
Yeah,
would help out today. Another person that would probably we don't talk is uh much about is Steve Young.
Johnny Unitas. No, yeah.
In a space like this, I mean, he had to kind of, but so there's a lot of great quarterbacks,
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
right? That we often you know take for granted
Randall
in a sense.
Cunningham.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I could
I
just go.
mean,
Yeah, I could go through the list.
Buffalo went to 4 straight Super Bowls. They had a pretty good
Yeah,
quarterback.
Jim Kelly.
I mean, he was a baller. So, all right, y'all, this is great. We're gonna have a great Super Bowl. We gotta figure out where we're gonna watch Super Bowl. See, so we gotta figure this one out. I got Hammer already talked to me, so we got to talk offline about that. I don't know what
Okay.
you're doing, but we gotta figure that out. We're gonna hand out some flowers. We're gonna drop this mic and hand them out. Who wants to go? Anybody got anything they want to give out?
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay.
Has anybody been paying attention to the St. John to St. John's the Johnnies
Yeah.
over there in New York?
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
coaching.
Rick Pitino, he's back.
Slick
He's
Pitino.
back,
Yeah.
and he's brought St. John's back to prominence. They're the number 11 team in the country right now that just got done beating Marquette. I have to give my flowers and drop the mic. I give my flowers out to Rick Pitino. We were having a different conversation last year, about Larry Bird ain't walking through that door. Kevin McHale ain't walking through that door. If anybody remembers the old Rick Pitino speech when he was the Celtics coach, but we were having a different conversation last year when they were losing. He had a lot to say about his players, but now this year, he's turning around. I think they're 20-3 as it stands right now. They're in a great spot right now. So I want to make sure I give my flowers out to Rick Pitino.
Mm. All right, Cecil.
She's always going to be a person that I have high regard for in the sport, and that's Dawn Staley. She's another one where I think you create a level of excellence, and people just take it for granted. They just act like it's easy because she makes it look easy. Watching her girls play, she has our number one player go down into the season, knee surgery, and now this other player this freshman that she's playing, and I wish I was as good at names as Darnell is, but this freshman's just stepping right in and being treated like she's a senior, and carrying the team, with some people that won a national championship last year, and I just don't think people give her enough credit for what she's been able to do, not just from a basketball standpoint, but from a development of young women and the development of this game, and how she's doing it, because it just keeps happening and keeps happening. And then everybody was celebrating her contract. It's the biggest contract of any woman coach, any literally female coach, because she still doesn't make as much as old boy at Connecticut, but she's breaking ceilings and she'll get there eventually. But I just admire her for her continuing to battle, continue to do what she does, continue to develop, and I hope someday as much recognition as she gets, that she gets even that much more recognition.
Those are great. Right down. I'm gonna give this one to the person who's been on me with me the longest in this sports journey, who took me to get my first signed me up for football with the Junior Wolverines. My mother, she turned 88 years old last week. We were able to celebrate with her in Georgia. Loves sports. We Darnell, you would love it. We watched the fight Saturday night we were up there watching with my brother. She loves watching. You talk about Don. She loves watching women's sports, especially with my niece Chanel playing basketball. She's the kind of person who watched the Pistons when they were struggling on a Thursday night against Utah. She just George Blaha. She'll have the game on or doing something. And I just but just reminds me also of even with the times we're dealing with right now, of a generation that helped us get through so much. And so, Mom, I appreciate all you bring, and so blessed that you are here with us in your 88th year. You still have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and your appreciation of of sports really unlocked a new possibility for me in my life. And you learned the game with me. You just, because I wanted to do it, you opened up, and now it's like you're in it like I'm in it. And we might have to bring her on sometimes, because she will be critical. Darnell knows. She's quiet, but she got opinions. So appreciate that. Well, it's good, gentlemen, man. Y'all made my day. We got to keep doing this. You two brothers be well. And everybody, check us out again on your favorite platform, Real Sports Guys or realsportsguys.com. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hard working, dedicated. Would like to dedicate this to those who never hate it. Can't nothing hold us down. Can always go another round. Welcome to the underground. Real sports with real sports guys. It's a flex that had his mindset, ready for whatever grind next. My mindset, working with the time left. Hard working, dedicated. Would like to dedicate this to those who never hate it. Can't nothing hold us down. Can always go another round. Welcome to the underground. Real sports.